Maybe that's just having standards. Maybe I developed standards in the past 10 years because I don't know that I had them before. Hi, I'm Kate, and welcome to Always Tuck and Roll. We discuss life, the universe, and everything through the lens of autism because autistic kind of colors my whole view of things. So here we are. And this week I thought it would be fun to talk about adulting or maturing, growing up. You know, it's like we grow up, then we mature, then we just age. I feel like we're kind of giving up. We should probably call it something more interesting or exciting because aging sounds dull and sad. Don't know what we should call it, but if you have an idea, put it in the comments. But here we are. I am approximately 40 days from 40. And I mentally, honestly, most of the time only feel like I'm in my mid-20s still. Now, I know for a fact that I am a better person than I was in my mid-20s, so I know that I have matured, and that's good. Not that I was a bad person in my mid-20s, but I promise, like, I am a much better person now than I was then. Hindsight's 2020. Life lessons have been learned. Um, all of the things that you would think could happen in a decade have happened. So, yay, I survived. Woo-hoo. And here we are. While I don't feel like an adult, and I am constantly looking for an adultier adult and finding none, um, because I'm not actually sure, like, adults are real things sometimes. Like, yes, they are, but also, I don't actually think anyone knows what they're doing all of the time. I think everyone is just falling with style until they land. And in that notion, I thought it would be fun to, like, make a list of all of the old mature thoughts that I can possibly think of off the top of my head. Now, for the sake of time and the fact that 40 is a lot of things, made a list of 20. And some of them are kind of redundant, and there's no real particular order, but I will kick it off with my first thing, which I think was my first indicator that maturing is a thing, for sure, and that is The Little Mermaid. When you watch The Little Mermaid and you watch Ariel argue with her father and you hear the line, "I'm 16, I'm not a child," and your mental response is, "Yes, you are, young lady." Spoiler alert, you have matured. you're now an adult. Because there comes a time when you realize that even though, yes, 16 is a teenager, they're still a kid. Like, I think mentally, people are probably kids until they're 25, realistically, because our brains are still developing until we're 25. So I just always thought that, like, that was always strike one. When you have to argue with Ariel and mentally, you might be an adult. Sorry. Next up on the list, valuing paper bags. 2 weeks ago, Pete forgot his cloth bag he keeps in his car, and then had to stop at the grocery store on the way home, and he showed up at home with a paper bag, and I was stupid excited about it. We live in a state where we can't have shopping bags, so, like, we always have to have our cloth bags with us when we go grocery shopping or any kind of shopping. But, you know, paper bags are still a thing. But we always have our cloth bags, so we never get them. But I like paper bags for recycling purposes. I like to put all of my, like, paper trash and anything that's not returnable goes into a paper bag before I put it into the recycling dumpster. So, having a new paper bag when I was fresh out of good-sized paper bags was stupid exciting. In that same vein, my third one, plastic bags. Again, we live in a state where we do not get plastic shopping bags. It is not a thing. So unless you can maybe pay 10 cents per bag, but like, why are we paying 10 cents per bag? So my favorite sandwich roll is not sold where I live, but sold where my parents live. So they, I was up there over the weekend and they gave me a pack and they gave it to me in a plastic shopping bag. And when I got home, I was like, oh, I have a new plastic shopping bag. Because here's the thing. Yes, we need to move away from plastic, but there's nothing better for a stubby little trash can liner than a plastic shopping bag. So super, super excited to have a new trash can liner for one of my little tiny trash cans. Number 4 on this list, valuing sleep. Now, I am an insomniac. I have spent more of my life awake than I have asleep. And honestly, lately I'm in a wicked deficit. I would love to get 4 hours of just unconsciousness in a row, and I think I'd feel better. But what I'm also finding is I've never been wistful for a good night of sleep, and now I'm like, oh my goodness, if I could just have 7 unconscious hours, that would be the dream. Because it would. And I don't know if that's my insomnia, like 40 years of it coming to rear its ugly head, other than like stunting my growth. You know, I'm supposed to be 5'7" and I'm only 4'11 and a half, 4'11 and 9/16. However pedantic we feel like being. 4'11 and 9/16. I am pedantic. Anyway, sleeping. Very important. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if all of the sleeping I haven't done is finally coming back to haunt me, or if just like now that I'm old, it's like, oh, sleeping. I could go for some sleep. Maybe one day I'll learn how to do it. Who knows? Anything's possible. Moving along, good sheets. Now, I've always been a fussy person, very not good at sleeping, not good at just being in bed, but having the ability to just good, comfortable, soft sheets makes a huge difference. And I'm sure it always did, but like I notice and care now in a way that I didn't used to. I have one pair of microfiber sheets. I love them. They've got Star Wars constellation on them. I never use them because they're flippin' microfiber and that's not as comfortable as like a high thread count cotton. It's just not. Next up on my list, good wooden spoons and wooden spatula. I hate cooking, but you know what? A good wooden spoon or wooden spatula makes a huge difference. And getting them for Christmas is like super exciting for me because it's a practical gift that I know where it has a home already and I know I'm going to use it. But also, like, there's just something satisfying about using like a seasoned wooden spoon. Though my favorite implement is my wooden spatula. Like, I use that for everything. Next up on my list of whatever is understanding why beds should be made. And it's really like a lot of things. It's not just like about the bed, it's also about like making sure dishes aren't in the sink or clothes on the floor. It's acknowledging and understanding that I mentally am happier when things are aesthetically clean. Do we have to be like deep cleaned? Heck no, but aesthetically cleaned, yes. Clean visual space, cleaner mental space. Or at least less, I've got to do all these things to fix the problem. So that's nice. Next up, preferred grocery stores. Now, I'm not as bad as my grandparents, who would drive 2 towns over to save 2 cents on bananas, but I do have lists of things I will only get at specific grocery stores, and not just because I can't find them at other grocery stores, but because the quality is never there. Though there are a whole host of things I can only get at one grocery store that I can't get at other grocery stores and vice versa, so it's a good thing I have like 10 within like 5 miles of me, but it also means there's a lot of flippin' people around here, and that's kind of a lot. but having preferences is okay. Um, Caring less about societal demands, like what society says you need to do. Like, I've never really cared about that because I've never understood, but I also care less that I don't care. Like, I'm learning to forgive myself for just not caring about what other people think I need to do with my life or all of that stuff. It's nice. And I think that actually is part of the aging thing because, my mom always said, your 30s are when you start to get self righteous, and maybe that's where we're at. Let's find out. Can't wait. I mean, am I self righteous? Not yet, but I think I'm headed there. Maybe I am. Something to ruminate on. Um, Good cutlery. Yes, I already talked about wooden spoons and spatulas, but oh my goodness, having forks and knives that I can hold without bending in my hand if I hold them too hard, did not know that was something I would care about until I got new cutlery that didn't bend in my hand. I knew I was using cheap stuff. That was by design because when I moved into my apartment in 2010, when I initially bought all of my kitchen stuff, that's what I could afford, and I knew it just. But having real cutlery, just that, again, a fork that doesn't bend if I hold it too hard, is so wonderful. Did not know that I cared, but I do. Um, Maybe that's just having standards. Maybe I developed standards in the past 10 years because I don't know that I had them before. Or as many, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with standards. As long as you can be flexible where it's warranted. Moving, okay. Not getting new music. Like, I don't really listen to the radio so much anymore, and when we do, it's like Golden Oldies or the Grateful Dead station or pop rocks. I am an alt rock girl. But what I've noticed whenever I do listen to like modern music, where's the guitar? Why are we not using guitars as much? I don't understand. It's such a wonderful instrument. It's a versatile instrument, but I feel like we've kind of left it behind. Um, but maybe that's just I'm a sucker for a good alt rock song. So maybe it's just we're not making alt rock music. We should. I feel like there's a lot of angst in the world that we would like to rock out and dance to, so maybe, well, Green Day is there, but that's punk rock, and that's, love them too. That's a whole other. I miss, like, 90s rock stations. Maybe that's my problem. I miss 90s rock stations. I miss 90s and 2000s alt rock. I do. We should more of that. More angst you can dance to or just rage to or feel. And guitars. Let's just use guitars. All right. Time. Moving. Now, when I was a kid, time always felt like it was kind of moving fast, but at the same time, when you really looked at it, the whole year took a whole year. That is no longer the case. Remember the last video where I was like, it's August, I don't know where the heck July just went because I blinked and I missed it. I never understood that whole concept, but now it's every month, it's every week, it's every day. Where is the time going? And that's weird, right? The perception of time moving around. I don't know what that's about, but time just keeps on moving. So, weird. New technology and its annoyance. I hate AI. I really do. I don't like those AI overviews when I do a search online. I find that my searching is much better than anything AI has to offer. In addition to my search results being more accurate than their summaries, also it's more thorough, and I like to get a lot of different. I like to know where my sources are coming from. I just don't want a computer telling me what to do, think, or feel. So there's that. And like I get that AI could be good for things and an aid to help me, but I find that what people use it for are all things that I like to do. So I have no use for it at this point in time. Um AI should only be taking away the boring jobs, not the fun, interesting, creative stuff. And I'm a little bit concerned no one's learning how to write anymore because they're just letting AI do it for it, and that's no. Writing is so important. The words in here should be put out into the world for all of us to see. Let's be honest. Um, where am I in this rant? Because that's really what this is. It's just one long granny rant. Um, oh, um, seeing clothing styles from your youth come back. I now finally understand all of the stuff like my mom said when certain styles came back in the 90s. And, I mean, I actually really do think it's great that, like, looser baggy jeans are back. I never understood skinny jeans. I've never worn skinny jeans. I don't like tight clothing as a rule. I actually still like really like a good flare or boot cut. Um, but that's it. Like the fact that like barrel leg jeans are back is nice. I do appreciate that. Um, I didn't know they'd really gone away either because again, I just have a bunch of the same pair of bootcut jeans. I'm a one trick pony when it comes to clothes. I have a whole drawer of this tank top. Seriously, there's like 12 of them. Um, moving along down my ranty list of things that prove that I'm old. Hearing your music on all these stations. My goodness, hearing Nirvana on my dad's classic rock station cracked me up the other night. Like, what? I mean, yes, I am like too young to have listened to Nirvana in their heyday, but like not too young for Nirvana to not have still been extremely relevant um in my world, especially as a youth and teen. So that was a whole thing. It's not the first time it's happened, but whenever it happens more and more, now it's like what are we even classifying as oldies at this point in time? Like what is it what we call like what is classic rock? What are we even calling our music now that it's old? Like I have so many questions. But isn't that fun? Sort of. I just I mean all music there's a time and a place for all music, let's be honest here. Um it's just it's funny when your stuff starts to shift around and you have to look for it on new stations. Or it just appears on more stations. So I don't know. Being older than all of the professional athletes on a sports team. That's been happening since my 20s, but now that I'm like 40, I am older than professional athletes, and not that I was ever going to be one, but like, that is funny to me, because it's just like, they still seem like adults and people and stuff, and I don't feel like one, but then I see their ages and I'm like, you're all babies, oh my goodness. So there's that whole dichotomy. It is what it is. Um, next on the list, and we are at 17 of 20, so we are moving right along. And if none of this makes sense, I'm sorry, but these are my. I'm old now, and these are my old person ranty thoughts. Um, or I'm about to be old, I guess. I don't know. Sunscreen, sun covers, wear them, use them, do it. I cannot stress this enough. I have already had two precancerous moles removed, and I am covered from head to toe in moles, and at some point in time I will really talk about all that. And I also know that I need a skin check because I haven't had one in a little while, and again, I have never had a clean mole check in my life. So um wear sunscreen. It will help prevent wrinkles and sun damage and cancer. So wear sunscreen, wear sun cover-ups, get your moles checked. Take care of your skin. Your skin is your largest organ. It is the most important thing, and I think I've that's something I've always known, but like the older I get, the more I value skincare. Um, good shoes. Now, I was raised by a family who always believed that you put your money into shoes because your feet support you, and they. But like seriously, wearing a pair of good supportive shoes can make or break your day. And actually, I will even go as far to say flip-flops as well. I spent my entire 20s wearing like $1 flip-flops from Old Navy or Target, and I mean, I still love them. But once I invested actual money into a pair of flip-flops that I have now had for 3 or 4 years, it's a game changer. I will never go back to the $1 flip-flop. I appreciate their value, but I also like not buying a new pair of flip-flops every year. I also like not feeling all of the individual pieces of gravel underneath my feet when I walk. So there's that too. Um, the importance of moving and stretching. Cannot stress this enough. That is something I've begun to really, really value. I last time I was employed, I did not stretch. I felt that like the fact that I was hoofing it up to and from the train station every day was quite enough activity for me. It was not. I ended up with bursitis. I ended up tweaking out other things. At another job, my posture was so bad, I ended up with a hump that I have luckily managed to. It's not there anymore, unless it's pumping back out. Which, if it is, let me know. I don't know if I let that angle happen. I can't tell. Um, if you're wondering why I'm beginning to talk faster and faster and faster, my phone is dying, and I'd like to finish this before the phone dies. Fingers crossed. But also, I don't want this to be all day. Like, no one needs to listen to me talk for half an hour. I've been listening to myself talk all day. It's not that exciting. Anyway, moving, stretching. Just, if you do nothing else, just, try and touch your toes once a day. Stretch. I find, like, I am so small, if I lose any range of motion, I will be shorter than I am. Because I've already been there and I've had to re-stretch myself back out. So I try to do some stretching, really, really basic moves, minimum every day. Yoga on days where I'm really motivated, and Pilates when I'm like super, super motivated. But I'm trying to more just like yoga Pilates hybrid thing these days. I should really like look up a program and do it that way, but mostly I take moves that I like and combine them into my own routine. It's fun. Last thing on my list of 20 old person thoughts and feelings that I've had that prove to me that I'm actually about to turn 40 and not just like aging to 40. The importance of setting and holding boundaries. And granted, most of the last year or so of self-discovery has also been about that, but when we're a kid, we're not allowed to set a lot of boundaries. We have to go with what we legally have to do, or our parents are saying that we have to do, and we don't get to set our choices, and that can be really hard, overstimulating, frustrating. You could end up in places you don't want to go or do or be. And like some of that you absolutely have to do, and unfortunately that's just the way life is. That's the crux of being a kid. But as we get older, we're allowed to start making those choices. And for a lot of things in life, I never realized that I was allowed to start making my own choices and decisions about what I was comfortable doing, what I was comfortable being, wearing, anything. It was more just, I fall into a routine, and I'm not a linear thinker. I don't always think about like what something else possibly could mean or what the next actual step should be. So, figuring out what your comfort level is and what those boundaries you can have around your comfort levels, and setting those and enforcing those, and knowing that it's okay to enforce. I'm sorry. I talk with my hands so bad I just punch my mic sometimes. It happens. Um, Knowing, setting, and enforcing your boundaries is totally good, and it's something that we all need to get better at doing on some level, because it's kind of like good fences make good neighbors. Your boundaries are just your internal fences. We work better when we are comfortable within ourselves. So that's why it's the last thing on this list, is just learn what your boundaries are and how to hold them. And don't feel guilty about setting boundaries. You're allowed to be comfortable in your own skin. I hope that any of that made sense. If any of that resonated with you, let me know. If you have any other little things you want to add to like the, ooh, that was an old thought list, put it in the comments. Let me know. If you're older, younger, doesn't matter. Just what are your mature thoughts that when you think them, you're like, oh, that came from me? I guess I'm getting older. Oh well. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Um, Serious about the sunscreen and sun covers, y'all. Just do it. You will. Who wants a sunburn anyway? Come on. And when all else fails, don't forget to just chuck and roll. Hindsight's 2020. Life lessons have been learned.